This 15-year-old girl has to honor a marriage arrangement made before she was born. A young boy has to cope with the ordeal of circumcision as he enters manhood. When a community is threatened with witchcraft, they call on their ancestors to give them protection from sickness and death. This is the story of a family who proudly maintain their traditional beliefs in the hope that this will give them health and prosperity in the future. The Himba are a tribe of semi-nomadic cattle herders whose way of life has remained unchanged for thousands of years. Without electricity or running water, they build shelter from sticks and mud. Their home is this parched scrubland in a remote corner of Namibia and Angola in southwest Africa. The daily life of the Himba centers around the family and managing herds of cattle, goats and sheep. It's a harsh and demanding life. The Namib Desert, which adjoins this parched scrubland, is one of the driest in the world, and droughts are common. Finding sufficient water and good grazing land is difficult. For the Himba, cattle are everything, providing them with both a means of survival and a form of currency which is used even when negotiating the price of a bride. But it's not just the physical life that's demanding. Their customs can be equally as harsh on their emotional lives. Verera is 15. She's about to marry a man she's never met. For the first time, she's just been taken away from her family to her future husband's village, which will be her new home. Komoi Pundo, the man she will marry, went with his mother to collect her. But now the bride and groom must travel separately. They will not meet until they arrive at his village. The groom's mother, Ngororo, arranged the marriage, and it's through the female side of the family that social bonds and inheritance are determined. His father, Kamapia, is head of the family, and over the next few weeks will be responsible for performing the wedding rituals. Ngororo, Verera's mother-in-law, claimed her while she was still in her mother's womb. Her future husband, Komoi Pundo, has known about the marriage arrangement all his life. Although they haven't met, he has watched Verera growing up from a distance. On Verera's first night in the village, her future father-in-law rubs her stomach with his family's sacred butterfat to start the process of initiating her into the family. He teaches her about the new taboos she must now observe as she becomes part of her new husband's family. For Verera, the observance of a new set of rules marks the end of her old life with her parents and everything she was accustomed to during her childhood. The next morning, a bull is slaughtered to celebrate the marriage. Wrestling an animal of this size to the ground with bare hands can be dangerous, even for men who've done it many times before. No part of the animal will be wasted. The skin will be used to make clothing, and all the internal organs and offal will be eaten, even the bones. Before the meat is cooked, Kamapia has another task to perform as spiritual head of the village. Living in a world full of suspicion and distrust, the Himba try to see into the future by reading entrails. Kamapia follows the paths of the arteries and identifies local villages and landmarks, as if reading a road map. It's bad news for Kamapia. He owns a lot of black oxen. He's an important man, and there are rumors that people jealous of his success are using witchcraft against him. But for the moment, his son's wedding is a priority. Himba women work hard, minding stock, collecting firewood, fetching water, and cooking. But it's the men who cook the meat for ritual celebrations. While the groom, Komoi Pundo, has spent the day in isolation outside, Verera has been kept hidden away inside. Finally, she arrives for the first part of her 2-week marriage ceremony. Her bridesmaids are all from her husband's family. While Verera will always be a member of her mother's clan and will pass this on to her children, at the same time she must now become a member of her husband's male clan. During ritual celebrations, married women arrive and depart on their hands and knees as a sign of respect for the male clan lineage. The bride and groom are the first to sample the ritual meat. Komai Pundo can eat the meat, but as a new member of the family, Ferreira can only blow on it. Now this part of the ritual is over, there is feasting and dancing. As a newly married bride, Ferreira is expected to keep a low profile during the first few weeks of her marriage. She spends all her time in the company of other women. Himba women braid their hair into long plaits, and it can be extended using either plant fibers or hair grown by a husband and given to his wife. A mixture of wood ash, butter, and powdered herbs keeps them in place and conditioned. Ferreira is grinding red ochre. It will be mixed with butterfat and used as body paint. The fat moisturizes the skin, and the ochre gives it the distinctive red hue the Himba value so highly. Ferreira's leather headdress signifies her status as a newly married woman.
Uji mgani ngaware kwa kuru pemu mgani muni mumakuri achakuru jawe buhora uji muni utukura ngadu jokana hangi meno uji me chi utomba chi chunguru andwa we uji mgani ngunu mwanga uri utonya kana ihuri
Balina yuri yo wow ja ndale yengi lugulamba kare mandulu mulama nje aya bwamya ke mba miko bo bangan ngadu je de gwede to jo banga Maria pangali ali mamulamba ali mwanduani nini na ndale kupe ako alambisa mbanda pena ako jibe na ako uli ali nini asana kumuli mwanduani na Poi jali mangre yo ma ya jimba bare ko modidi abe angwe no mun wale ngi bare ke o mango mo kando mo juanje ya o ja abe kuli sana hori ba jimba guru ku daga bu imbabu mi tamane ya mo gado yo mo mama ninga ka bitana abe dum mi hanga rimshi mbine yo gare como ganduo a ven que era no go de mi hanga yo mundo go gare kan gutu guraira a mi no habo gado je mi na go yamba go biso da no mba go biso ba ni no mama e haba na go ja ye hino go bu mundo e dad mena goja mundu mengi korori na haya gena mengi tolano mundu mengi korori po mengi dale sauri
po kuja kuno kumwanga nihe ukupari mama mba ku mbari mbumba hu ngoni mbumba ku pirene kuja ku chwe hene kumwanga muni yana ndia katoro we muni kumwanga na hingona kwa bane ne hewe jeta
Ferreira knows that one day she might have to share her husband with another wife. But as his first wife, she will always enjoy a higher status. Her new mother-in-law has finished milking and is now making a storage hut, a job done by women. A mixture of cow dung and wood ash is daubed onto the structure. When it dries, this will provide a cool upper level, suitable for food storage. The lower level will serve as an enclosure for goats and sheep. The Himba are expert stockmen. In a fragile and unpredictable environment, they move their herds frequently, always taking advantage of whatever limited resources are available. With an average annual rainfall of just 200 millimeters, water and good grazing land is scarce. Kamapia, Ferreira's father-in-law, has lived through many droughts and lost everything, but each time he's managed to build up his herd again.
Kokunya ku heulimba kundombora hiaroka vide ma gulo nambora mbora ya mbora mbora ini ya hupakera eim ngina imba kai sangu no im no baji twata muno e holu muno lili mongo tolumbwa nei ngo mbenje nju aeta yoka ipitwa yoka imuno njala
With a serious hip problem, he now relies on his sons to manage his herds. His oldest son, Ngurumeva, is getting ready to leave for a temporary cattle station where he'll find better grazing. Things at home have been tense for Ngurumeva. He's going on his own, even though his wife wants to go with him.
Mama, you going to buy? You Mama? Buy you? Buy the way, or Mahara who you bring here?
Although they've been married for several years, as yet they have no children. Although Ngurumeva will stay at the cattle post for the next few months, preparations don't take long. For food, he will take a supply of maize meal, which he'll supplement with milk. The Orosi horn can only be blown when someone has died or when cattle are moving. Ngurumeva has been having problems with his back, and riding a donkey is not going to help. While livestock provides the Himba with milk and meat, when there's been enough rain, they cultivate millet, maize, pumpkins and melons. They also collect wild fruit and nuts.
Never go long about that.
Siji bomo magulai. Kunna kanyongando.
Himba women act as surrogate mothers to each other's children and will share their milk. These babies are age mates. They will grow up together and go through life taking part in each other's rites of passage, from naming and circumcision through to marriage and death. Ferreira's middle brother-in-law, Kambeti, has 2 wives and 3 children. Their oldest son, 8-year-old Hayazambui, is being prepared for one of the most important rites of passage, circumcision. It'll mark the end of his life as a child and the beginning of manhood. To prepare him, his aunt removes his old ostrich shell waistband and replaces it with a new one. All milestones in the lives of the Himba are celebrated with new body adornments. Before the ceremony can take place, Kambeti must walk to a neighbouring village 5 hours away to inform his mother-in-law about the circumcision. In a world without newspapers, televisions or telephones, any visit is an opportunity to exchange news. This is a formal occasion, so he must show respect and maintain a distance. The way is now clear for the circumcision to go ahead. To prepare for the circumcision, the cows are milked. For the Himba, cows and the milk they provide are much more than just a means of survival. Milk plays an important part in all ritual celebrations. After milking, the women present Kamapia, as head of their clan, a pail from which to drink. Once he's sampled the milk, it can then be enjoyed by the rest of the family. This man has been contracted by the family to carry out the circumcision. He has no medical training, but has performed many of these operations. If anything goes wrong, he'll have to pay compensation. Until the children recover, he'll be completely responsible for their welfare and will act like a father to them. For Hayazambui, the moment has arrived. The circumcision will take place outside the homestead, and all close family members will stay there until the children have recovered. The circumcision is carried out crudely, with a sharp, unsterilized knife and no anesthetic. The whole family rallies round and tries to give support to the children. They believe that chewing bark from the mopani tree and spitting on the wound will help to keep the blood flowing and will also speed the healing process.
Tango mukoyo wa mwina, tango mukoyo onju wetu wa mwina. Anjo tate yumumare nani?
Kongo jamaa ohara hinga malitoka. O mianga eke gol. Jima muna na joga ko lugar hiyama, jima lenge ko gajidi.
As harsh as he sounds, the circumciser acts like a father to the boys and caters for their every need until they're fully recovered. The circumcision marks the end of childhood and the entry into manhood. The boys are expected to be brave and show their courage by not crying. In this way, they demonstrate that they are already men.
Tara nyuma bepitimba himbalipo batupukire kwenda okolibuka bantu no kulipata balimbiri patane kama twini mihagu ya mojwanje jimaulu imbe mugo jimaulu milili
On all ceremonial occasions, an animal is slaughtered. Kamapia is anxious to know what the entrails will foretell. The prediction is alarming. Kamapia must take action. But until the children have recovered, the family must stay camped outside the compound. They believe there is a link between the blood spilt during circumcision and that of a slaughtered animal. For this reason, they must remain in isolation, abstaining from sex and not eating red meat as a means to protect the community from health risks associated with blood and violence. Two weeks later, the children have recovered and the family have returned to the compound. After living on a restricted diet of milk and maize meal, Ferreira's husband, Komoipundo, has been assigned to kill a goat. Children are involved in all activities from an early age. They learn by observing and taking part. In this way, they're already making an important contribution to the community. Ferreira's brother-in-law, Ngoromevi, returns from the cattle post for the final ceremony of her wedding. He's sick, and there are rumors a jealous ex-girlfriend has put a curse on him. To make matters worse, one of Kamapia's other sons has been bitten by a scorpion. While he strokes the wound, he appeals to the sting and asks it to leave. With the constant threat of drought and famine, the Himba feel vulnerable to forces beyond their control. Many of their rituals attempt to influence the outcome of unpredictable events. Kamapia and his son Kambeti collect sacred Mopani leaves and pay homage to their ancestors. They appeal to them for protection and ask why they have deserted the family. The Mopani tree survives during even the most severe droughts. Its leaves are thought to have special curative powers, and it's revered by the Himba. They walk back to the village barefoot to show respect to the ancestors. Kamapia brings the Mopani leaves to his holy fireplace, where all important rituals take place, and where he believes he has a direct link with his ancestors. Like the Olympic flame, these glowing embers are never allowed to go out.
Nambana mjimi kupita na jawe mimi kupita mie tamba jinaje jimi ngora kiungu ngiriadi kana namba omba yari kana ngiriadi kana namba nangu mabere ngiye opumiriadi kana namba kimiri kumbire kumukuru miri kumbire kumukuru mingiye tamba po pewendi amiji jimine wala ngendi kimbakoka koka betola weka paka mawenga maimbia hiyo mitimba iko mama mkombe ipi ngwaro kapokuru kwanja utubye byalo.
Unkuramevi is sick, and remembering the earlier prediction that someone with black cows would die, he selects a calf which will be sacrificed to honor the ancestors.
Abana mundu wonje na handu mai wongura go ga
uri go handa uri na mu yero go bo
ko ba ni ndi go ko no ngo no so be go kutanandu
unya mno mai ni ngamru wo
si waje ma ke panu na banu
An argument starts between the brothers. Komoi Pundo hasn't invited an important guest. Although he's now a married man, he feels he's always been sent on errands just because he's the youngest son. The meat is separated, and specific cuts are left at the holy fireplace as an offering to the ancestors. Sickness and natural disasters are usually attributed to witchcraft, curses launched by people with a grudge. Sorcery is widely feared, but often thought to miss its mark. So Kamapia needs to seek protection for the whole family.
Mihuhuro muhihamo wangu ya mibi ungu nawe yimeriyetere ku muhihamo wewe no kimaduhura na homo mu binavyo yawiye wiyembi mbitu ayitambazi yetu mbitu cyo andwe very raya kunuko cyo wabe nawe abantu very raya hapa jo mundo umbakati po wa umbwewe kiwa umbwewe na hekima na kitule na himba watando mundu umwemba ngumu ko kutona ewe mbo kalino kuyenda kuingungua nguwa lango kutona bayoli mali munini ne walwe ulingua nguhala ngere kutona ya ojina hajima kukima kuloguliro ya ojichiri na hajiri jewe mundu wa matandami ale pami ejina hama kikaze pomachi wanji me amere mbapitira mihikitire ugeno haja ngamono majo wanje ugeno hajire jewe no.
The family gather at the holy fireplace for the ritual healing. Ungoromevi thinks his sickness and his wife's infertility is the result of a curse. His father believes the ancestors have failed to protect him.
Alikana no unajama kitiaji mamunjeka ayo putuli nga ukukuti alikana tate alikana hiya ya umba unajo mbumi huhula mbumi to mafoko jipara alikana hiya ndei na ndei majenguna naka mukale ndungo wohoni alikana majitia kakapena mumuta mwine unaje mbujimakolambo aja nami jijitepo jijeta mbanga likukuti.
Next to be cured is Ungoromevi's childless wife. Ash from the holy embers reinforces the family's links with the past and gives them renewed hope for the future.
Yeah.
15 days after the initial marriage ceremony, it's time for Verera to be accepted into her new clan. For the first time, Verera will drink milk from the sacred cows of her new family.
Ma.
The headdress Verera has worn in public for the last few weeks is removed. And this is the beginning of her new life as a married woman. Komoi Pundo is given a necklace to denote his new status as a married man. Verera's marriage was arranged before she was born, and now, even before the marriage has been consummated, the family have chosen names for her first child. While looking to the future, the names chosen are a reminder of the past. They translate as, "The ancestors' fire still burns," and "How can we hear our ancestors better?"
Oh